What is going on, YouTube? The day is finally here. We have the fourth full-length album from Illenium. Kind of crazy, we're already at number 4. I still look back at the day in 2016 where I first heard the Don't Let Me Down remix. From future bass to an evolution of melodic bass to pop crossovers, sound has changed quite a bit over the years. It's no secret I've not been a huge fan of some of these pre-releases. I'm going in today with an open mind regardless. Also, quick note on pre-releases. I know labels have to market and everything, but 6 of the 14, you wouldn't put out a trailer with half the movie in it. Maybe 3 or 4 next time. I was just a little shocked that half the album was already available pretty much, but it's also worth noting that this album is the first of his 4 albums that has his face on it. I guess you could look at that as a representation of his evolution or transformation through this, whole Legend of the Phoenix thing. Purely conjecture, but for the fans that want to dive more into the deeper meaning of all this, something to take note of. Nonetheless, let's jump into Fallen Embers. All right, here we go. Little nervous. This melody reminds me of that Snow Patrol song.
If I lay here,
kind of what I expected for an intro so far. Classic riser. I like the constant strumming of the guitar in the background. It kind of gives that continuous, somber feel to the song. The drums sound very, very familiar. So overall, one of those songs I felt like could have had a little more punch to the drop. I think that sort of sets the tone for the album, but given all the collaborations on the rest of the project, I have a feeling that's not going to be the case for the whole thing. Skipping over Heavenly Side, as we did a lot of the pre-releases already, or every single pre-release already. Okay, this one sounds like it's going to have a lot more energy already. Tad more up-tempo. Okay. Pretty quick to the point. So far, this sounds the most true to kind of his original sound, but we obviously didn't get a full drop out of it yet. This is a song I'd like to hear remixed. It's pretty pleasant. So far I like that one the most, but we're only 3 in. Or technically 2. Alright, skipping over Sideways and First Time, as we've also heard those already. Oh! Big fan of Sideways, First Time not so much. We got You and Me, Sasha Sloan, one of the more prominent vocalists. Ooh, nice toms. Yeah, I definitely like this one a lot more so far. This feels like the first one that's trending in the direction I'm more partial to. I want more out of that. When he's touring this, I feel like a lot of these he's gonna mix up with a really heavy drop. Yeah, I could do with more of the vocal manipulation here. I just feel like the drops are holding back, and I don't know why. That's one of those songs where I don't think the balance of it's going to be thrown off that much more with a little bit fuller and, saw waves in the drop, but If you want to get away from that sound, I get it. I just feel like the audience is definitely there for that still. It's always the classic struggle of fans latching on to a sound they like and artists always evolving. So with that one though, it's like, is this more of a pop song for Sasha Sloan or is this an Illenium track? Because if I just hear that in passing, I don't know, we'll see how the rest of this goes. Before I skip over Nightlight and Hearts on Fire, because again, already covered, I do want to say Nightlight has grown on me immensely. As much as you want that really heavy full drop, it's just one of those songs that has that X factor. And in terms of songwriting, just the overall melody of it, I really appreciated Kayvon's remix that kind of gave you the heaviness to it that was lacking from the original, but overall a great song. Obviously it's performing well and for good reason. Let's jump into Lay It Down. I did hear a peep of this at Ubby Dubby, but I do not remember much of it. I like the chords. Oh yeah. Definitely feeling this one so far. Yes, finally. A little more sustenance to it. Yeah, maybe I'm just a shill for like future bass and whatnot, but I feel like those drops that don't have some saw waves or some of that flushing white noise on there, it's just not gonna give it that extra punch, and this one's got it. Yeah, beautifully written song. Love the verses. All right, a little bit of harmony here. Yup. Nice. First song added of the non-pre-released. I've got Losing Patience with Nothing Nowhere.
I got everything I wanted and some more. Too fast, never stop to look around when I do that. I know it isn't safe, I'm looking out the rear view.
I like what you do with the drums here. Gives it a bit of a different feel. Obviously the vocals are a different feel as well. Sad Boy Hour! Oh? Wait a minute. Okay. Pleasantly surprised. Thought it was just gonna stay a little mellow, but yeah, I like that initial growl. Yeah, I'm gonna have to revisit that one. Not crazy about the vocalist, a little melodramatic, but it's kind of his style from what I gather. Alright, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say this will probably be my favorite because Excision and Halion and Illenium all together. I don't think this one will disappoint, but Voice of an Angel. Yes. This drum pattern's giving me Seven Lions vibes. No complaints. Nice. And here we go. Hybrid style. Is it gonna be more like Gold? Feel something? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I love that. Yep. Definitely the standout track so far. I mean, just top tier talent all around. Something about Excision and Illenium's harmony together, and when they blend their styles, it just works. We've seen that, twice already with Gold and Feel Something. Every time they get together, it feels like, oh, this is a sequel to the previous song. You know what to expect, but it's different enough to appreciate. And then you add, in my opinion, the best vocalist in EDM currently. Can't be disappointed. Alright, we got Set the Sky and Rock Mafia on this one.
Foundation's been rocked, but I keep showing up. Even though sometimes
Alright.
I wanna die. I'm sorry I feel
I hear that marchy snare in the background, Trevor.
in these
Really nice ballad. You can tell when this song was written, that's for sure. Alright, here we go.
on the other side.
I can dig this. You gotta be patient, but yeah, that's gonna get some tears flowing. Of all the emotional kind of grab at the heartstring type songs on the album so far, that one I actually kind of felt a little bit. All right, to finish it off, Brave Soul.
I know you're stuck on the other side.
Beautiful chords, really warm sound.
You'll finally say goodbye. Sometimes I wanna forget. Here's to your brave soul. You fought but you lost.
Ooh.
Now I'm alone to face the truth.
Haley, and you got some competition.
I'm trying to go on if I dreamed of you last night. It's been 10 years since you lost your life.
Nicely done with the texture. Damn, big drums. Woo! Oh, wow! Oh, I got goosebumps. Woo! Save the best for last. Damn. Woo! Yeah. Where's this been the whole damn album? Woo! That's how you close an album out. For all the mixed feelings and the stuff I'm not totally in love with, that song makes it worth it. Definitely my favorite. Okay, so where to start? Let me collect my thoughts. I feel like this album is a representation of all the different styles or types of music that Illenium is into, like as a person. You kind of have like that punk pop crossover. You have the, real emotional ballad-like songs. You still have the aggressive bass music in there with the Excision collab that kind of pays tributes to his, beginnings and what he became known best for. A majority of it is kind of this evolution of what is, like from future bass to melodic bass to kind of this like blend of pop that is probably reaching a wider audience. As a whole, definitely not my favorite album of his. I'm still gonna stick with Awake as my one for the wall, just out of sheer volume. I think I'm personally adding 4 of the 14. Of the other 10, I just don't see myself really wanting to revisit. But for a lot of artists, that's a massive success. Like, how many artists can you rattle off where you say, yeah, I like their music and I like 4 songs off their album? There's not that many artists in the electronic scene that you can say that about. So is it a little bit of a deviation from what we've grown to love? Yes. Do I wish we could just stay in that time warp from like 2016 to 2018? Yes. But times are changing. The music has to change. The scene must evolve. I started to fight this back on Ascend when he released the Good Things Fall Apart with John Bellion. I'm personally not a huge fan of that song. The Anarchy! And I started to think like, oh no, is Illenium starting to sell out for some of this pop sound? But what I respect about it is while he has kind of, appealed more to the masses and tried to blend more of his sound into the mainstream, he also totally hasn't abandoned his roots. We still get songs that, bring us back and have that kind of, original or a deviation or something similar to that initial sound. So I remain a fan. Again, I think this album is more of a holistic approach to all the different styles he's dabbled in throughout the years. It's got something on there for everybody, and at the end of the day, as an artist, that's kind of what you want, so I get it. Much love to Nick and all the Illenials out there. Let me know what you guys thought. Comment your favorite song. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I hope I did it justice. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.